Good evening, everyone. I know people are just finishing up at Social Justice Alchemy. We'll get started here in about 5 minutes.
Welcome to the Tea Party with Marty Abernathy, a show by an ultra-feminine, meek, shy, totally unopinionated trans woman that seeks to listen to both sides and does not make fun of TERFs. You've listened to the show, right? You still want me to say this? Okay. Here's your host, Marty Abernathy.
Hello. So tonight is, hey, I like I'm distracted by my eyeliner. We can start the music again. Come on. Where'd you go? There you go. Welcome to the Tea Party. I have had the weirdest day. I've got a soundboard in front of me. I can lower it. I've had the weirdest day. I'm not even kidding you. So I work night shift, so I slept a lot of the day. By the way, welcome to the Tea Party, everyone. If you are a patron, which Jonathan is, so I'm expecting him to visit the patron-only video link linked on patreon.com. You can come in and we can have a chit chat. I can tell you about my oddest day. I work night shift and that threw me off anyways. Oh, we might as well get into it. If any of we have a new patron, by the way. David Scott is our newest patron. Thank you, David. So we're up to 4 patrons. Woohoo! Who would have ever thought? But if you go to patreon.com, you can log in, and there is a special post that's actually got a link embedded in it to get into the chat. I'm just going there to check that it's there. I know, I'm pretty sure it is. Yes, it is. It's got the live. Did my music just die? Anyways. Yeah, if you go to the Patreon page, Jonathan, it says oh poo. That's for April. I'm an idiot. I know I made a post. Let's see. You know why? I'm a freaking dumbass. That's why. You can go there now and see it. Sorry, goddamn. I literally made it for tomorrow. That is hilarious. Someday I'll get the hang of this. So, anyways, so
there we are.
Hello, Jonathan.
And David, you're in the chat. So, and because, as Marty just said, like you are a patron of the Tea Party, you can go to the Tea Party Patreon page and I click the link there that's now there because I just click on it and I got to hear.
Yeah, there's a couple things. I'm not used to this background here. This is a nifty background. I didn't do that. I think it's a default. But so I wanted to share with you the weird day that I had today.
Sure.
So
this is your show.
Take a guess on who I got into a fight with on TikTok. Not a fight, but not fist fight or anything.
Okay. You said TikTok because if I thought Twitter, it's like, oh, there's so many people I can like guess, but it's like TikTok. Okay, so just throwing out there. I don't know any individuals on TikTok unless I know them from like other places like Twitter. But for like a turf.
No. Of all people, I got into a fight with Chris Crocker.
Do you know? I don't know who that is. No. I'm not hip with the kids these days.
No, it's not these days. Here you go, Jonathan. We're going to learn something together. Because I think you're too young for this, actually.
Maybe.
I think you're... I do. I think you're too young for this. Because to be honest with you, I don't remember what year it was.
Mm-hmm.
But if you were old enough, you will remember this. Do you remember this?
Do we really want to see a 25-year-old woman leave behind 2 children and die? Have we learned nothing from Anna Nicole Smith? I know it's hard to see Britney Spears as a human being, but trust me, she is. She's a person. She's like you or I. And I don't know about you, but I know that I would be pretty shaken up right now.
So do you know who this is?
Okay. I see. The thing is, for some reason, I did not catch this on like the internet at the time, so I only know this in reference, as it were. because basically it wasn't until like a Lindsay Ellis video mentioned this kind of like instance and how it became canonized and stuff like that, and even
Hold on. Here we go.
Yeah.
And how fucking dare anyone out there make fun of Britney after all she's been through?
Mm-hmm.
She lost her aunt. She went through a divorce. She had 2 fucking kids. Her husband turned out to be a user, a cheater, and now she's going through a custody battle. All you people care about is readers and making money off of her. She's a human! What you don't realize is that Britney's making you all this money, and all you do is write a bunch of crap about her.
All right, so that is Chris Crocker.
Oh, I see.
Oh God, I wonder when that actually was. Let's have a look.
Why is my wrist now hurting for some reason? Why does the human body does that? Where it's just like parts of you will start hurting for like almost like randomly reasons.
That's a good question. 2007.
I was just playing poker then, so it was like, yeah.
Okay, so I've seen a lot of people on TikTok. A lot of people that will talk about. Well, I'll just let him explain and what he's actually saying. Where are you, Chris Crocker? Oh, here we go.
On the topic of creators not always being educated on something, and you're saying to go ahead and just stitch people that are educated on it or people that do have opinions about it. The problem with that lies in the fact that if I am still in the process of learning about something, I'm not going to stitch or repost creators' opinions when I'm still developing my own or doing my own due diligence and research about what is happening in the world. I think that, again, this expectation of, well, you have a platform, so use it, is such a contrary thing to say. If someone is not currently that well informed, using it preemptively before they are informed, or just posting other people's opinions when I don't know if I even agree with those people's opinions, people that are educated on it, or people, not a good thing. Let people learn and then speak. How about that?
This guy has literally, here's the original post that he made. This guy has over 600,000 followers on TikTok. And this is actually, I'm just going to play the original post here.
I understand people wanting there to be attention on things that need attention and people that need to be spoken up for. I think, however, the attention being put on whether or someone is speaking up or is not speaking up takes away from the issues.
And basically, he goes on saying a lot of the same thing, and I think it's complete bullshit. It's an excuse. It's an excuse not to educate yourself. How long has it been? How long? I mean, literally, there's been a ceasefire already.
Yeah.
You know, it's been at least a week. You could take, and here, this is what I wanted to point out. This is from a creator, who's a Muslim creator. I don't think that you need to do a whole bunch of
you guys just witnessed was a Palestinian boy and his mother caught underneath the rubble of a collapsed building after an Israeli airstrike, and he's begging his mom to stay alive. To the people who are still saying, oh, this is complicated and nobody should bring it up when it's not your community, nobody's asking y'all to write a 100-page thesis on the 70-year occupation, and you don't need a PhD to know that this, children being literally bombed, is wrong. How about we normalize speaking up when human rights are being violated, especially as Americans, because it's our taxpayer dollars that are funding this. If you do not speak up, you are not only enabling it, but you are complicit in that oppression, not only with your silence, but because you live at the heart of an empire that benefits from colonialism and is funding it with your tax dollars.
I think that is on fucking point.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't have to be. You don't. You don't have. It's not trigonometry. It's not geometry. It's not astrophysics. You don't have to do a bunch of research.
It's not even like economics or something like that.
Oh, it's an apartheid state. Like literally, all you have to do. Here, let's do it. Let's do this. Let's do this. Human Rights Watch. There we go. Israel. What's it say? Huh.
The threshold has crossed, and Israel authorities and the crimes of apartheid and persecution. Oh, so Human Rights Watch, which as an organization has its own problems, and I heard that from like Citations News, but even Human Rights Watch is saying that Israel, you doing terrible.
Do you have to do a lot of research to know that you're against apartheid? I don't.
I mean, has it been long enough since the South African apartheid to finally have an opinion on that?
I mean, that's a good question. I mean, I definitely think, I honestly, I think they learned a lot during the South African during apartheid in South Africa. I think they learned that BDS works. That's why the Israeli government has taken great strides to make BDS be something that is anti-Semitic when it's not.
Oh yeah, talk about council culture. There has been like academics who has shown support either for Free Palestine or for like BDS, have been like got their gigs canceled or been like let go from their universities or something like that because of the I don't know what the impact it is, but the Israeli money kind of like pressured the universities to like let go and fire those kind of like professors.
Well, and for those people watching that don't know, BDS is boycott, divest, and sanctions. So basically it's a way to protest, and a bunch of American cities, I think around 30 American cities, have actually made it illegal to officially take part in BDS. The Israeli lobby in America has done a lot to make sure that that's the case. That being said, so that was today. I'm actually probably going to make I was going to make a stitch, and it looks like he took it down, and I'm not sure. But
so a stitch is kind of like a quote tweet or something like that of TikTok, right?
It's like a retweet, only with a video. You can, in TikTok world, you can do two things. You can do stitch or duet. Duet is the entire video. So you would basically talk over the person as your a stitch is more like taking a little clip and then having an editorial about it after that, which it's weird though, because some creators don't allow anything. Some creators don't allow comments, which I kind of weird on a social media site, but so yeah, I thought that was a bit that was a bit odd. And
who taught y'all that? Because
oh shit, the one bad thing about TikTok is if you have it up in your browser, it auto plays.
Yep.
That is why I have this. That I have it in VLC. I download all my videos
Yep.
beforehand.
Yeah, that makes sense. Makes it easier to like don't have like any extra audio. Yeah.
So on a slightly different topic, though,
Mhm.
I did want to get your thoughts on something. So, Jonathan, you
Mhm.
are anarchist.
Yes.
Would you consider yourself a communist?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So, um, what comes when you're fighting for other people's rights? What comes first
Mm.
for you?
Oh, that's a tough question. That is the $1,000,000 question as a word, even though I'm a communist and no one wants to live in a moneyless society. It's
But what
because
what are you most going to fight for?
this is this is where I have to like admit a bit of like selfishness as where it's me my friends first as it were, but yet like in like a larger scale, I guess is like the ones with that are the most marginalized or the most immediate threat as it were. So an example like this is right now Palestine until the ceasefire as it were, or but before that it was like Black Lives Matters and George Floyd because that just happened last year actually, and then before it's kind of like the most immediate thing I guess with what I can like do in terms of my actions though sometimes it will be I do prioritize my friends a little bit over like who can I raise awareness for or money for or something like that if or I will try to do all if I can. So don't know if that answers the question but yeah.
I found this really interesting because on there's sections of TikTok that are really educational.
Hmm.
I found where am I at here? I found quite a few different creators on TikTok, leftist creators, and like this is one of the videos that.
What is class reductionism? Class reductionism is basically the belief that class is the most important primary issue, meanwhile issues like racism, sexism, homophobia.
So I'm gonna turn this down. You can read what she's saying. The music will
Mhm.
get me a copyright strike, unfortunately.
Oh yeah.
But she talks about class reductionism, what it is, and it got me to thinking a lot about like what is most important. And she talks about they're interconnected and intersectional. These issues cannot be simply ignored even after revolution of socialism and communism. It's not the end solution to these issues.
Agreed.
We must also strive for black liberation, women's liberation, decolonization, etc. And I thought that was really on point because, and this is another creator that said something similar that I thought was important.
Is what intersectionality is all about. Intersectionality does not ignore class. And to your previous comment, yes, the CIA can literally co-opt almost any idea. It's even possible that if Marxism was a popular enough idea, it could be co-opted by the CIA and watered down and used against us. That doesn't mean that we shouldn't embrace some of these ideas and these ways of thinking. This is actually a type of fallacy. It's called ad hominem, and people have the wrong way of looking at the ad hominem fallacy, because that fallacy can also be referred to as like bad company fallacy or guilt by association. An idea is not bad because bad people can co-opt it. But I don't know anyone who believes in intersectionality that wants to exclude class, except bad faith actors.
So
yeah,
I thought that was a really good point. A lot of leftist TikTok, there's a lot of these kind of points. Intersectionality is key, and because to me, more than anything, that's what's most important. and you may think it doesn't uh doesn't match to the last videos that I showed, but the one
Mhm.
thing that bothers me, because Chris Crocker he's gay,
Mhm.
and he's talked a lot about LGBT rights and that kind of thing, and I'm just like, why in the fuck? I mean, if you believe, I believe in LGBT rights, but I
Mhm.
support many different marginalized groups.
Yeah.
Basically, it boils down to bodily autonomy.
Mhm.
Because I feel like it doesn't even have to. It doesn't even have to be like from a marginalized community for me to support it. It's all about
Mhm.
bodily autonomy and having the right to do with your body as you wish, whether that's putting drugs into it, whether that's taking your own life, whether
Mhm.
that's having an abortion, whether that's transitioning. I mean, all these things to me are things that you do because you want to do, and you do it with informed consent, then you should be able to do it. No one has
No.
the right. I think that's a basic human right. So, when you're talking about Palestine, you'll have I had it on the last show, where it talked about pink washing.
Mhm.
People will try to do that. Oh, well, in Palestine, they would be dragging you around on the streets. They would kill you. And I'm just like, wait, there's 70 other countries that would.
Mhm.
Are we
Yeah.
are we going to genocide those countries? Are we going to move into those countries and fucking ethnically cleanse them?
Mhm.
If not, don't bring them up. Don't bring that up because
Yeah. This is the same kind of like thing that like anti-feminists will like say as a word to try to like getcha to the feminists as a word, something like that. Oh, come on, like if women's rights are much worse in like in saying like Saudi Arabia or something like that, or gay rights is much worse in like something else and something like that. And Phoenix would always think it's like, are you saying that as a threat? Are you saying that like if you don't like how we mistreat you here in America, that will send you off into another?
that's from
Shame. Shame.
you know what that's from?
Oh, oh man, you mentioned it before. Shame. I was like, oh, it's not coming to me. No, I'm not culturally literate.
I'll give you a hint. Margaret Atwood.
The Scarlet Letter. Okay, Margaret Atwood. Okay, I have to look that up now.
No, you don't. You don't have to look it up. It's a popular series going on right now.
The Handmaid's Tale.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Is it still popular? Because I heard that like it wasn't as good after by the third season. So
You heard that, but you didn't watch it?
I've only seen. Did I finish the first season of Handmaid's Tale? No, I didn't finish the first season of Handmaid's Tale. Actually,
What I thought was funny is that TERFs use that language all the time. They love using the Handmaid's Tale.
Mhm.
But guess what? Margaret
Mhm.
Atwood supports trans rights.
But listen, Christians, you're not. The Handmaid's Tale is not like a guidebook for what happened after an apocalypse. No, you're not supposed to be like Christians in the Handmaid's Tale. No, you're not. That's not a blueprint of how to run society. No, it's a critique of it.
Yeah, back in October of 2020, Stephen King, Margaret Atwood, and Roxane Gay came out for trans rights in an open letter against J.K. Rowling. So I thought that was rather ironic that people that support her use it's kind of like the red pill and the blue pill.
Mhm.
people will sit there and use that the IDW types will use that language, and it's like that if two trans women wrote that.
Mm-hmm. And at the end in 1999, when The Matrix was made, the estrogen was red,
which is so dumb. So they're appropriators in the weirdest fucking way.
Absolutely, yeah, and that's a good point, David. It's like Game of Thrones has like ruined you on watching anything based off of books. If you all read the books, yeah, just stick with that.
I can't think of any. I can think of one movie that was as compelling as the book, and that was The
Shining. Ooh, yes.
The Shining, the book, the ending in the book is much better. But Jack Nicholson just killed that movie. I mean, he was just fantastic. But other than that, I think just because there's so much, you have so much time in a book to flesh out the characters, whereas in a movie you have 2.5 hours. Basically.
Yeah, try to do War and Peace in 2.5 hours. You can't. You're going to cut out a lot in 2.5 hours.
There was a fight. The end.
Oh yeah. So yeah, that's the thing of like intersectionality. It's like what is most important. Oh, that's the thing. I'm an anarchist. There shouldn't be a hierarchy of oppressions, as Martin Luther King Jr. said. Injustice against one is injustice against all. So like, so long as there's injustice, we should fight against the injustice. Includes like Palestine, so we don't have to like, oh, but Palestine's not good on gay rights, unlike Israel. Well, fuck that. There are queer people in Palestine too that probably doesn't like to be bombed on either. And so, oh, was that mentioned earlier? No, it was like COVID related. Okay, yeah. So there's. Yeah, exactly. We shouldn't be pitted against each other as it were. That's what capitalism does. Let's not compete.
1 second. Here we go.
Like, can we stop arguing about how much oppression is okay and just stop oppressing everyone everywhere?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You were so dead on. Like, you'll have TERFs that'll sit there and argue about, well, there haven't even been that many trans women die. Like that is, first off, you're equating a small minority with a majority. So cis women make up what, 51%.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not talking about a minority.
Mm-hmm.
You could call them an oppressed majority, but anyways.
Yep.
I just thought that when TERFs do that, I'm just like, so you there's a certain level of oppression that you're okay with. There's a certain level of misogyny that you're willing to take part in because trans women aren't harmed as much.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you're saying? So I thought that was a bit much. I wanted to share this with you too.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that I last show I did a little bit on Joe Rogan?
Oh, he did say something recently, didn't? Oh, I remember him doing something that's not great. Yeah.
Straight white men are not oppressed. How can you be silenced when you never shut the fuck up? Since the beginning of time, straight white men have had the entire system working in their favor. And now in 2021, now that Massa has graciously bestowed us a few of our rights back, the oppressor now thinks that he is the oppressed. When you're accustomed to privilege, equality does tend to look like oppression, I guess.
So that's what Joe Rogan said recently. Well, he said other things recently, like he doesn't think that like his younger members of his audience should like get the COVID-19 vaccine because if they're healthy, why get the vaccine? But that part, oh yes, he did say something about like white men being censored is like
the woke.
Woke.
Joe Rogan says giving into the woke mob will result in straight white men not being allowed to talk.
And Armor Skeptic in 2015 made the same point and asked the same question: Are white men, are men allowed to the table when talking about feminism? Yes, patriarchy also affects you too.
So dumb. It's just, I when it comes to that kind of stuff, I'm just flabbergasted at how, like, are these people being, and I tend to think it's kind of like Ted Cruz. He knows somebody recently was like, I can't believe how stupid Ted Cruz is. And I said, I don't believe he's stupid at all.
Yeah, I think he's grifting. He's definitely grifting.
Yeah, and his grift is knowing his audience.
Mm-hmm.
His audience is stupid, but they have money.
Yeah,
and they're willing to watch him. I mean, that's why I'm always suspicious of anybody. Honestly, I mean, I'm doing this stream, yes, and Jonathan is a streamer as well.
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan streams games and sometimes reads anarchist writings.
Mm-hmm.
So far so good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But this isn't our we're doing it for good intentions. It's not a grip.
No.
You know? I think that's the big difference. But to be honest with you, I kind of think that's why we're not as popular as these people.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have to do things that are gonna make you controversial.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. There's whole many like anti-feminists and skeptics as where basically they'll just take a trash can and it's like, and that's their channel. They're the trash can, the trash can in the suit that will debunk the feminists and stuff like that. But even so, not all those channels will get like hundreds of thousands or even millions of like subscribers. Some of them only get like 46, like Irate Bear or something like that. So it's not even going that kind of grift, which used to be the anti-feminism. Now it's like conservatism grifting of whatever kind, or like conspiracy theory grifting is where I'm a skeptic doing conspiracy theories is the weirdest thing. But yet, even that's not the guarantee that's like the money will be there. Maybe it's now like dirtbag leftist grifting as it were, and you still have like run the risk of not being as popular. Yeah, sure, I'll probably be more popular talking about the woke people ruining things for us, but like it's not a guarantee.
Well, and the thing is, what's the point?
Yeah.
What's the point? I mean, I always go back to it, but it was such a solid moment for me in realizing what all this was when Christiosity was talking about MythCon, and all of them went to a party together. You know, these are people that, and sorry, but there were leftists and right wing grifters and left wing grifters, and she's like, no, I'm not. These people are not my friends. No, they're not.
Even some of them were also participating in a lawsuit against like Chris Ossie's friend and PC Myers, a slap suit.
Yes, but for some people that didn't fucking matter.
Yep.
I mean, it just, you know what it reminds me of?
Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner, just like, or like that sheepdog in the Looney Tunes cartoons, just punching the clock. They're fighting each other, but it's the end of the time. Punch the clock, out of there, go and have a beer at the bar, even though they were just fighting.
Yep. That's exactly. That is 100% the way it seems like, and they just don't care. Honestly, at the end of the day, this isn't about. That's what I was talking about. At the end of the day, they just don't care about what they're doing. They care about getting the money from what they're doing, but it's not something that they see as actually being having any meaning for them. Outside of it being going to the fucking grocery store, you know.
Yep.
Anyways, Jonathan. So I'm kind of confused too, because you do different games.
Yeah.
So do you play mostly like what are the games that, like the farming game that you did? What's that?
Stardew Valley.
What is that? What kind of game is that considered?
Farming simulator. That's the best in kind of like a farming simulator. That's the word. That's the best like descriptor of that game is. I can pull up to see like what Steam what people have tagged it on Steam as, because like sometimes like people create their own like categories for it, and there will be like a lot of different categories, because like sometimes the different tags just like say something that's in the game as opposed to like something that's a genre of the game, like female protagonist. Oh, that shows you of how sexist like video games are, that the fact that the game has a female protagonist is unique enough that it gets its own tag on like Steam. But like farming simulator, farm sim, life sim, that's the kind of thing. It does get like categories as a RPG, because there's like level gaining elements and experience gaining elements of it. But like life sim, that's the best way to go. So it's a simulation game.
Is that's not mostly what you play though, is it?
That's one of the things I play. I sometimes will play I have played Dark Souls, which is an action RPG. I played like Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, which is an action adventure platformer. Dead Cells is a roguelike that is a action platformer as well, action games. I haven't played any first-person shooters yet. I have played a shooter in the running and gunning shooter in 20XX, so it's a variety of different games that I play there. I play some RPGs as well, like Artifact Adventures and Inkenfell. So yeah.
Are they mostly like how do I put this? I don't even have the vernacular for it, but like they look almost retro.
Yes.
Like Stardew Valley looked like it was like 8-bit.
Yes. 16-bit. Yeah, the most people compare Stardew Valley to Harvest Moon, which is there's one Harvest Moon you can get on Steam, but the Harvest Moon was a game series all about farming too, farm simulator that started on the Super Nintendo, I believe. So yeah. Retro games I do play, yes.
Are is that mostly what you play?
Yeah, I have over like 1,000 games in my Steam library, and like I also bought, like, there was a bundle from itch.io the last summer, the racial justice bundle that has a lot of games in it. There's a lot of retro style games in there, but I also I have some first person shooters. I played a lot of like Borderlands 2 and I even like Call of Duty or like Medal of Honor, but like I haven't streamed those games yet. I do have Skyrim, so I do, and I played a lot of Skyrim too, and I streamed that too. There are also some games I put in a lot of hours into that I cannot stream on Twitch.
I'm not even gonna ask. You just get to know your patrons, but not that well.
Yes, exactly.
David said, "I only play second-person shooters."
There are third-person shooters. Yes, I think I have some of them too.
It's the weirdest thing for me because I absolutely hate guns. Hate guns. I'm very nonviolent, and I'm just like I love first-person shooters.
Mhm.
Anything, especially the Battleground
Mhm.
series. I just put I just put a Call of Duty on my phone.
Mhm.
It's not a very good gaming experience, but
Mhm.
they have right now going on where you can power up yourself by changing into either John McClane or Rambo.
Mhm.
and you run around basically with a fucking real high power. It only lasts like 45 seconds, I think.
Mhm.
Or if somebody shoots you, they can shoot you out of it basically.
Mhm.
But um, I I don't know why I like those games. I haven't really figured it out.
I mean, well, with Wolfenstein, like the classic Wolfenstein, it makes sense. And it's a funny story that like Hank of the YouTube channel Cult of Shots said on our show when he was on that like his grandmother lived during the Nazi occupation of the Netherlands. And so when Hank got 10 years old or something like that, playing Wolfenstein 3D for the first time on the computer, and his the grandmother saw the swastikas in the game, and she was like, "What's that? What's that? What's that? What are you playing there, Hank? Are there Nazis in those games?" And he goes, "Oh yes, there are, but I get to shoot them." Oh, good. Continue doing that. Shoot those Nazis.
Um, well, if you like killing Nazis, um, the latest Wolfenstein games
Mhm.
so fun, so fun. Because basically, what it uh, it's basically what if Hitler won the war and um, took over America. Basically,
Mhm.
you're fighting against what came after that. Um, and it's a really fun. If you like first person shooters, it's really fun. Although I get stuck on one fucking part. Like there's this massive Nazi robot that will just fly around and fucking run into you, like push himself into you and kill you really fast. And I get stuck there every time I play the game. So I get stuck and I'm kind of like, oh fuck. Even if I put it
Mhm.
on easiest part, it's hard to get past. Anyway,
Oh yeah. There's
but
there's there's those times, and just like I wish there was still the game genie around, or it's just like screw it, I'm going to find out that this game has cheat codes.
exactly. Exactly. How do I beat this fucker? But on a certain end, I'm kind of like, um, how that kind of takes away from finding out about the game.
Mm-hmm.
You know
It
what
does, yeah.
I don't know who I was watching, um, but there is a game about building. Um, trying to find it. Uh, is it called Strategic Mind?
Maybe.
Uh, Strategic Mind, Spectrum of Communism is a history. Oh no.
Spectre of communism? What? Because I have seen like some of those games advertised is at like the Android and iOS is, and it just like, hey, okay, how is it like this communism game any different than the capitalism game that they do? Or is that the communism supposed to like demean communism as well, or Stalinism really? And like the capitalist game is just like, yeah, you are a good capitalist, yay, capitalism.
Well, there's. I was watching a stream, uh, where you build cities.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a game. Communist City Build Workers and Resources. Have you ever heard of it?
I think I actually have. I wonder if my friends have really kind of like I mentioned that or like talk about that. Maybe they did. Because yeah, I imagine that'll be like one of those like actual political games. Yeah.
See, that would kind of interest me.
That would.
I'm not gonna lie. Well, do you mind if I show part of it?
Go ahead.
I'm just gonna go off the Steam website.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
The Russian music is kind of gets me, yeah.
But you have to plan all the where the trains are, where the hospitals are, and from what I've heard people say, it's not really from, a lot of these games tend to be from a capitalist point of view.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean? They'll be like, oh, this is terrible, but this is actually how make this work. I just
be the bureaucrat in the centralized clan economy. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just thought it was kind of interesting.
Yeah, it does look interesting. So yeah,
I would play that.
Mm-hmm. There is a game that's kind of similar to that, but it doesn't have like the aesthetics of like Sovietism. It's called Factoria, and I definitely seen a couple of friends of mine stream that too as well. So yeah, city building, also just city civilization, city building civilization games like SimCity, as it were. Yep, it's always been around. But to do that through that kind of, that seems kind of interesting. Yeah, worth checking out.
I just thought that was I thought that was an interesting kind of an interesting take. When I'm going through this, like, for me, like realizing where my politics are and everything, I tend to focus on, because I still have a hard time saying I'm a communist. I don't know why.
That's interesting.
Because I am I know what it is. It's fucking Red Scare that I grew up with.
True.
The Russians, we were always told the Russians were going to put us under, we had to hide underneath our desks, or, they would bomb us.
Yep. The Cold War was the thing, as it were, and like there were movies that tap into the kind of feel, sometimes with the dark comedy sort of bent, like Dr. Strangelove. Mm-hmm.
I have to say that is one of my favorite movies.
Mm-hmm. Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is a war room. What's interesting that Slim Pickens, who was the cowboy that like in the final scene rode a bomb down, as it were, he that's how he normally dress and talks, and he was not told that the movie was a black comedy, which is why he played his role very straight, which added to the comedy.
Yeah, well, and it came off as he was very country. He was a boy from the country that was just doing his duty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
What was the name of that movie?
Dr. Strangelove, how I learned to stop worrying and love the bomb.
Okay, I was trying to look up my favorite quotes. But they had more to do with bodily fluids.
Or how like Peter Sellers had to like get a quarter, so he's just said, "Oh, could you please shoot at that Coke machine?" And the soldier's like, "All right, but if what you said doesn't happen, then you have to and then you have to and then you have to make up for the property damage against the Coca-Cola company."
Peter Sellers was a genius in that movie.
Yeah.
There were so many parts to it that was just absolutely hilarious. But did you know that Peter Sellers, he plays Mandrake,
Mhm.
but he also plays the president, and he plays I forget the guy's name, but he was like the German
mad scientist, as it were.
yes, the one that keeps trying to not give the
A high Hitler, so salute. Yeah.
he plays all these different characters, and he was a really good actor.
He's the one that can do that, like multiple different roles and do that well in the movie. I mean, Michael Myers, you tried your best, but you're not no Peter Sellers, Michael Myers.
That there were a lot of brilliant actors in that movie, though. I mean,
yeah,
Slim Pickens,
George C. Scott.
George C. Scott was absolutely fucking brilliant. I mean, he played this like really awful dope of a he almost seemed like he was someone that was in the military that just kind of was there by happenstance, and he kind of believed his own bullshit.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
He didn't know what he was talking about, but he certainly believed his own bullshit.
It kind of like shows you just like fake it till you make it. It doesn't matter what you say, so long as you say it confidently, then you'll get enough people to like believe you and believe you have authority, or you should be taken seriously.
Well, and it's funny too, because like a lot of the people that are when we're going off on like BreadTube and stuff like that, a lot of people that do that kind of stuff, they get by with it. It's a confidence trick. That's all it is. They confidently say something.
Exactly. Joey the Indigenous Heretic said this on like Facebook. The most infuriating kind of like a subcategory of humans is the overly confident, mediocre white man. To which I like the comment below saying all of new atheism.
Oh my God, yes. Oh my God. Well, and you know what? New atheism. What always makes me laugh about that is like they are the same people. They just lost their religion. They're the same Christian asshole, just without God.
Yeah, there's such thing as like Christian atheism which is not like the Christians that don't believe in the divinity of Jesus Christ and still follows his teachings. Yeah, Jesus has some good teachings, as a word that can be very applicable today. No, is the atheists that say, I don't believe in God, but there is a God, it'll be Jehovah.
Well, if my aunt had wheels, she'd be a bicycle. I don't know where I stole that, but I stole that from someone. I think the more naughty one is and transphobic one is if my aunt had a cock, she'd be my uncle.
Yep.
But I can say that. There was a post I was thinking about you when because we talk a lot on this show and on Social Justice Alchemy about difference between leftists and liberal. And I saw a post on Twitter that really kind of put that kind of shit into perspective for me. And it's from a guy named Phil McDuff, the crime dog. No, just kidding.
Take a bite out of crime.
Take a bite out of crime. Sorry. He said, weird how liberals cannot recognize that the right constantly blaring on about wokeism and political correctness isn't a fun game for poking at the left, but a strategy of reactionary politics, which has literal genocide denial at its core. It's a sweater problem strategy. If I pull on this thread, I know it will lead to the whole thing unraveling. So the thread must, under no circumstances, be pulled. You start recognizing systematic inequality now, and you end up having to explore where it came from. Pretty soon, that thread leads you back to BLM protests, to slavery, and you're going to find out just how unbroken these systems have been for centuries. Like literally, like the slave trade is like literally in the jail, in the prison systems. It's usually it's free labor, slave labor. There's a reason Holocaust deniers are being singled out for specific protections in our new free speech era, while everyone who even gestures at a historic understanding of oppression is constantly rendered illegitimate by the same systems. It's all connected can be dismissed as conspiracism if you choose to reduce it to an idea that one secret group has been running history from the mountain base, i.e., you strip any kind of materialist or systematic understanding from it. While at the same time, we are constantly subjected to propaganda which tells us that immigrants and leftists are secretly running the country and constraining government in order to funnel resources to the people that are undeserving. The right-wing ideology, which currently calls itself anti-wokeism, has the same assumptions running through it as it always has, of secret power, the embattled true people, the enemy within. All deployed because if we start asking questions like, where did you get all that money? Then you're going to unravel a lot of load-bearing, just world fallacies. The thing that links anti-wokeism, the 1990s incarnation of what we call political correctness, all the way across to literal Holocaust denial, is the following thing. Believe radical essentialism and white supremacy is true. They do not think you're supposed to be a racist because it's not true, but because it is. The belief that as a more liberal civilization, we have agreed not to mention it for the same reason you don't call someone's baby ugly. That's why you will see these people cluster around eugenics and say, but if we say Jews and Asians are smart, then we're just doing science. How can you say we're biased when only certain non-white groups who are classified as subhuman brutes? That's when you'll see people threaten the withdrawal of this politeness. If they become ungrateful, we treated you as equals even though you aren't, and you can't even be grateful to your betters. Sounds like it wasn't worth it. Civil rights to these people, it was never a correction of historic injustice, but a sign of generosity and magnanimity of the Herrenvolk during a period where wealth was plentiful and could be shared around freely. And that's why this stuff gets deployed alongside the economic ideology of austerity and anti-welfare. The Herrenvolk generosity tried to welcome the subaltern into civilized society. We gave them money and respect, but they simply threw it back in our faces. It's the old racial logic with the roots in the depths of race science. The idea that some groups must be disciplined into civilized behavior because they lack the capacity to discipline themselves. The logic of austerity goes, we have been wasting our money and potential and the Herrenvolk by trying to coddle this subaltern to suit the dictatorial whims of academics and metropolitans who cannot see how damaging it's been. You'll see them try to cast themselves as brave truth tellers, the uncomfortable truths they wish to share always being some variation of "you're poor because you deserve it," and "I'm rich, I'm better than you," and you trying to change this, you will fail. You cannot have anyone point out the truths that are actually uncomfortable to the people in charge. By and large, they're rich either because their great granddaddy was a thieving slaver, or because a system designed to protect thieving slavers incidentally advantaged them. Liberals join in the pushback against wokeism ultimately because they, despite everything, believe in this just world race science too. They might disagree that it should be rolled back as thoroughly as the right, but they still view it as largesse rather than justice. Fundamentally, they still agree the state must discipline the unruly rabble for their own good. And that's why we cling to the idea of the center ground, real voter, and work to illegitimate the subaltern and those who couch their demands in terms of restoration and justice rather than centralized generosity. The basic load-bearing ideology is the same. And I thought that was right on point, where a lot of liberals basically they look at helping others as something they're doing out of the kindness of their heart. It's not about doing the right thing because it's the right thing. It's doing the right thing because I want people to think that I'm a nice person.
And yeah, that's like, I want people to think I'm a nice person or I'm a good person. Sometimes, yeah, when you pull that thread, as it were, it's really that sort of like thinking. It's just like, I just want to make sure that I am a good person. And when something comes along and starts to make them question that, they don't self-examine. They don't they don't think of like, well, wait a minute. It's like, have I been benefiting from this whole system? Something like that. And sometimes they're like, fine, I will learn about like this white supremacy, this patriarchy, this imperialism, social settler colonialism. I'll read Howard Zenn's The People History of the United States, and then that's where the allies come from. But many of them rather live in the bubbles. Like, oh no, I didn't benefit from all these like systems of oppressions. No, everyone gets treated the same on the internet. No,
I don't have privilege. I'm poor.
Right. Oh, so many people go with that, and it's like it's a white man agreement. As where it's like, oh, come on. When you try to apply for like applications or scholarship grants, and college scholarships, and all like that, you mentioned you're white. That cuts out a whole lot of like scholarships you can apply for. And they'll like think that like that other people not white will get so many like handouts and benefits from the government and stuff like that, and they're like, I work my ass off every day to earn my money, as it were, and black people get these handouts. They really don't. It's not a lot. No, trust me, it's not a lot.
Well, and what I think's funny about that is the majority of the people that get those benefits
are white people.
Are white. They're white.
Mm-hmm.
That's what used to kill me. My sister, who's one of the biggest bigots that I've ever known in my entire life, she said the N-word like all the time. But she had her first child when she was 17. And she lived off of government assistance probably for the next 10 years of her life. Then she went to work for the government, and she's worked for the government ever since. So she's been on the public dole in one way or another for the past 35 years. And I'm like, the hypocrisy. The people that complain about participation trophies are the people that would have gotten participation trophies.
Yeah, and I got a participation trophy for 5th and 6th grade, no, it's 6th and 7th grade. No, that doesn't matter. Parks and Recs baseball. Not literally similar, but different. And I was like, okay. And if I didn't get a participation trophy, that's fine. I was a terrible baseball player. But I did, and it's like, okay. And my parents were just like, oh, it's a kind of cool thing for the kids to do, something like that. They wouldn't have been fine either. They were indifferent to it too. But it's all these helicopter parents is like, no, my son and my daughter is a high honors student, and they'll be the ones that complain to the teachers and the parents, the teachers about the strict or the difficult assignments, as it were.
Yeah, I think I think when it comes to that kind of thing, I think it's good to have all your kids feeling good about their participation. But that being said, you have a bunch of right wingers that'll be like, "Oh, participation trophies! We want to make all the kids." How is you're wanting to make kids feel bad on purpose? What kind of fucking parent are you? I mean, what is that teaching them?
It will teach them some good character.
Little Johnny, you're a loser, and you're always going to be a loser.
It's called tough love.
Just like Jesus Christ. Are you fucking kidding me? Oh. It's just I don't get it. I did have a couple of videos that I thought were pretty funny.
Okay.
And that I wanted to share with you.
Sure.
If you don't mind.
No, I don't. Gotta bring my little video up here. This one's about a gender reveal party.
So I just got kicked out of a gender reveal party. Everybody's clapping, it's a boy. And I just happen to say, well, let's give it 10 years and see if it sticks. Grandma clutches the pearl. I'm leaving. The receipt's in the bag. I got them a Pride onesie from Target.
Gender reveals are some of the stupidest things ever. And I just wish people would stop doing them.
Again, this past year has proved that gender reveal parties have mathematically done more property damage than Antifa and Black Lives Matter protesters combined.
Yep. And people, you know what, Jonathan, that's a great point. People need to be pointing that out. People need to be pointing that out because that is so fucking true. It's so fucking true.
Again, when you first heard about the news through memes about gender reveal parties starting a forest fire, you're just like, okay, that's plausible, but that cannot happen. That cannot happen. But I'm seeing more than memes. I'm seeing more than memes. Everyone's talking about it. Maybe it's true. And then I finally hear on Democracy Now! That yes, one of the forest fires in California was started because of a pyrotechnics of a gender reveal party. And I was like, the cis are not all right. The cis are not all right.
Well, and they have to. They're always talking about forcing. Why are you forcing this on our children? Literally, you're putting pink and blue fucking shit all over your kid
to
reinforce these gender stereotypes when they're babies.
And pink and blue is actually the name of a poem by Holly McNish. That is a really good poem. And that I recommend everyone to check out. There was also a really good, compelling video that goes along with it too. I'm going to just put it into the live chat right now for others who watch later. Pink or blue. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. I did see. This was kind of cool. I did see this. I've never experienced this and never will, I don't think, but I think it's cool.
I first met Alex as Scott as a teenager. I liked him then as a person. He was smart, funny, and good-hearted. Years passed without any contact, and then our daughter reconnected. Scott was now Alex, Alexandra. Our daughter told us how much she loved her. I was terribly upset. Couldn't understand it, couldn't get my head around it. Truthfully, I was even scared about relations and friends we had, wondering if we would be ostracized. I made the decision to try to understand. No, it wasn't easy. At first, I was pretending. Alex added love, understanding, laughter, joy, and richness to our lives. Please, embrace the person, not the gender. Don't turn away from love offered. Believe me, what a terrible loss it will be to you.
I thought that was sweet.
Mm-hmm.
There were parts in it that I was just like, oh, the whole part about embrace the person, not the gender. Embrace all of it.
Why not? Yeah.
It didn't hurt you. And,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that social pressure is a big part of it.
Mm-hmm.
But on stuff like that, sometimes you just gotta say fuck it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like Colin Mockery, like years ago, said that like his 90-year-old father and 87-year-old mother accepting his trans daughter warmed his heart. He just can't seem to understand how many others in the same age group can't seem to do that.
Yeah, exactly. So this one's totally unrelated, but I thought it was fucking hilarious.
I'm a random geek, so randomness is fine. Sorry.
And I got nervous. I had no idea why the her name kept showing up. And Thatcher's name a lot on social media today, and I got nervous. I had no idea why the her name kept showing up, and it really freaked me out. I thought somebody forgot to stake her and stuff her mouth full of garlic before they buried her. Glad to know it's just the anniversary of her death. I'm no swimmer, but she had my favorite stroke in history.
Oh God.
David, if you're in the chat, you have to approve of that pun too. And that whole video sets up for that pun as well. Yes.
I love this guy. He's the one that said he said the difference between a liberal and I forget what he said for the liberal part, but for the Antifa part, he's like break a Nazi's arm. Then he has one less arm to do Nazi shit with. And that's on point.
Mm-hmm.
On point.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's I thought that was pretty funny.
It would concern me when if I see it's like, why the hell is that trending? And it's like, but yeah, if I would see, great, Margaret Thatcher's trending. What's going on? Oh, it's the anniversary of her death. Okay, so all's normal then.
Hooray!
Remember, Margaret Thatcher's and Ronald Reagan's graveyards are both gender-neutral bathrooms. Use them freely.
Oh, exactly. I know I'm going all over the place, but did you see that that there in Tennessee there's a trans bathroom?
Oh yeah, it was like they have the bill in place, and that what it's like. So establishments.
Well, here, check this out.
Tennessee has passed a bill requiring government buildings and businesses to put up a sign if they're going to allow transgender people to use the bathroom. This is those Republican values at work, folks. We're the party of small government and free enterprise. The government needs to stay out of our lives and leave businesses alone. You know, unless the government's forcing people to adhere to my belief system, then it's cool. Or how many Republicans call themselves constitutionalists? Yeah, do y'all have a lot of respect for freedom of speech and the First Amendment? So this is the freedom of speech y'all were talking about when the government tells people they have to say things? Gotcha. But of course they don't have principles. They don't care about the Constitution as much as they don't care about the health and safety of bathrooms or whatever they're using to justify this bill. You know, it's bigotry, plain and simple. They don't want certain people using certain bathrooms, which is a sentiment that has a long history in this country. And the Republican Party has figured out that they can be the party of corporate America and not do anything for you economically, as long as they can continuously feed people's bigotry and drive them to the polls over issues like this. See through that garbage. Be tolerant and screw this guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Because ever since like 2015, with that like Supreme Court decision of like, no, we at the federal government should not stop like gay people from getting married. The right knew we lost this battle. Fuck. And so the majority of the country, even like the Koch brother now, accepted gay people is here. They can get married. So then they turn that fight as like, okay, we still can be shit to trans people, so let's do that as well.
It's what's acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? And to get back to what I was saying before about creators, this is why I think they have a responsibility to different communities.
Mm-hmm.
Intersectionality doesn't apply just to how you view things. Like, it's not just a lens.
Mm-hmm.
It should be in your praxis as well.
Yes.
You should be applying what you believe into the anti-war movement. Like I said before, there are different things that I'm involved with. To be honest with you, I'd been married twice. I didn't plan on getting married again. There's no reason for me to be a advocate for marriage equality, except for that it's the right fucking thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not just about me. You should stand, like you said earlier, you know, about what MLK said about justice anywhere is, what do you say?
Justice against one is a justice against all. I believe it's the quote. But even Martin Luther King Jr., when talking about the oppression that was happening in Black people in the South, he then had to realize that he cannot be a vocal about that oppression and yet be silent about what his own government was doing to the people of Vietnam. He did a whole speech called like Beyond Vietnam and something like that.
Well, and that's what people, especially Republicans, that's why I always laugh. I see this on TikTok every once in a while. You'll see a Black conservative will get on there and post quotes out of context from people like Malcolm X, or it's like, dude, Malcolm X was a radical, and you are not. You're upholding white supremacy, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But they'll use quotes, but they don't listen to what Martin Luther King was a socialist.
Mm-hmm.
And was anti-war, and you know, he was a fucking, in today's vernacular, he was a fucking commie.
Back then, he was accused of being a communist as well, or consorting with communists, and even like John Lewis and all the other people who were just like part of the student movement and like participated in Good Trouble. All of the white segregationists, very racist, like sheriffs would like call them as like say that they were communists then. And for trying to get blacks to register to vote and pass the literacy tests or the whatever test that they had then that the whites didn't have to take.
You know what always got me about that? Where is it in the Constitution that you can't have communism in America?
I don't. Yeah, nowhere. I think they were explicit about revolution after they had their own, but like maybe it's not in the Constitution, or maybe it's in like other state laws and something like that. But it's just like, yeah, nothing in the Constitution about like no communism, no socialism. To be fair, though, those words were not in common use in 1700s.
Well, they were in the 1800s.
Yeah, they were. Now, Thomas Paine, he'd probably be all for those sort of things if he knew that they existed, since he did, after the American Revolution, flew over to France and joined in that revolution and literally died in the gutter.
Well, if you're gonna die, that's the way to go.
Mm-hmm. It definitely they live. They die as he would live, like fighting the good fight for like the downtrodden.
Either that or making really bad puns and living that way.
Did someone die for in saying a terrible pun? No, that's a sketch I want to see.
I think Leto would kill them.
If she can't hit them with their hurricane, yes. Phoenix would just tell them to go stand in the corner. Yes.
Yes. Yeah, timeout. This is a timeout free zone, though. What I was asking you before, my head's going all over the place. So, do you play any games that are full on graphic kind of games?
I'm playing Dark Souls, and that is like mature and rated M for mature for violence and gore. Yes, I impale people in that game.
I just wrote Darks. I feel like I'm from Indiana. I just wrote Dark Souls in my chat, and I wrote Dark, SOLES.
Souls.
I think I have seen you play this.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
It's kind of like has a gothic horror aesthetic, as it were, with like a medieval gothic horror. Yep. It's not a pleasant place. Yeah, the kings did some wars with dragons, as it were. So there's magic, zombies, dragons, demons, monsters, and you die a lot in that game.
Well, that doesn't sound like fun.
Mm-hmm.
It looks really cool, though.
Yeah, it is challenging, and sometimes the designers are just dicks. It's just like, it's bad enough that you put the Carpe Diem in like a small room that I had to like fight, and he does like one attack, and like there's half of my health right there. But then you add the two demon dogs in there. That's like they're just like no, I'm trying to heal. Don't now I'm dead.
You're like, thanks, dickheads.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I definitely like the games that are there's a story to them, and they're not too hard, and it's almost like I'm the Goldilocks of gaming, because it can't be too hard, it can't be too easy. I want it enough that I can watch it like almost like a movie.
Yeah.
But I like open worlds too, like where you have a little loose, or
just guidelines as to what to do.
Yeah, you need to go here eventually. You need to go here eventually. You might need to go here eventually, but you have a pretty open world. I liked Red Dead Redemption 2. That was pretty fun.
Mm-hmm.
But each one does have a fucking pretty much a story, and I hope that there's a video game engine in the future where basically it makes the story up as you go along. Instead of it being so prescripted.
Well, we already have algorithms that can just write a Netflix show. I believe House of Cards was kind of like written like that as a way. And I actually saw advertisements for a bot. It's like, oh, you want to write an article or write an essay? Here's this bot that can write it for you. And I'm like, so we're not going to need humans anytime soon. Okay, I guess. But so a procedural generated story that like build off of like your character choices and actions. I can see that as potential. That I wonder if there is a game that's already tried to do that in its limited capacity. But yeah, that'll be something interesting. I like to see that too. Yeah.
Just so every time that you played it through, it would be like a different game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And also how like one person's experience with the game is not the same as another person's experience with the game as well. Yeah.
I wanted to actually I wanted to play do I still have my screen up? No. I wanted to play something else. I've been watching this been watching this
100, 1,000 years from now, what will the future look like? You're about to find out.
A singularity is the point where a conscious artificial intelligence is created and it's smarter than people.
We will use science to begin the process of slowing and perhaps even stopping the aging process.
The idea of using computers to simulate the world is just kind of the next logical step. Maybe, as some people have said, the last one.
It's these next 20 or 30 years that we are really plugging the brain into the internet.
We would become the gods that we once feared and worshipped.
This is The Road to Year Million, a brand new series September on National Geographic.
We've lost. It's the robots can have the planet.
Would they want the planet though?
Well, here's the thing. I like it and I hate it at the same time. Because there's so much in the idea that I like, but there's so much of it that's just complete shit. There's an assumption that that things are continuously gonna get better. And we know that that's not the case.
Yeah.
Because the oceans are rising. That alone is going to change. Climate change is going to change how we live and how things are constructed and built, and it's going to have a major impact on how we live. I don't think it. I think there's scaremongering going on. Because I don't think in any situation any simulation I've ever seen where the human race will be obliterated, but it's going to be a lot different. There's going to be a lot of people that die because of it. And first off, I don't think that's the future that they point to. They're really simplistic. Like, one of the things that pissed me off, I was like, we can't even think of black people or Palestinians as fully human. And you're worrying about robots having fucking I posted a video on Twitch or
TikTok, Twitter.
On both actually, and Instagram, where I said all robots matter.
Which is exactly what L9 in the Solo, the Star Wars story said as well. And oh boy, some of the people who are like have their issues with BLM said like, why did Disney added a BLM robot into my Star Wars? I didn't want politics in my Star Wars.
Well, and that's the thing. I'm just like, okay. You have this where you're worried about computers becoming sentient, and at the same time you can't even take care of the people that you already have on this planet that are living beings, and you don't treat them. I mean, humans have a big problem with that to begin with.
Yeah, exactly.
So there was just so many different parts of this, and I was just like, I mean, but they didn't. I'm finding up they aren't bringing the parts up that I'm sitting there going, this is so obvious. Like, they talked about downloading your thoughts, your memories, and everything. Computer. And they were saying, oh, well, you could live it forever in a computer. inside a computer. And I was like, yeah, you could, but I think it's more interesting to think about it in that you could have your memories be put into an android body that would never it would age, but it could always be repaired.
That's exactly the kind of world in Ghost in the Shell, the manga and anime series and anime properties as well. Yes, there was a live action movie we don't talk about.
Well, and what my thought, I mean, people will say, well, what would you do? What would you do if you could live forever? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I'd fucking go into space.
Why not?
You
Go to the one place that has not been tainted by the entire system of capitalism. Space.
Well, I think your impression is absolutely awful.
That's fair. Not all of them can be good.
You know why I say that?
No.
Fake news.
I'm escaping to the one place that hasn't been corrupted by capitalism. Space!
He was trying so hard not to laugh to ruin the take, and so that's why there's that pause there. You can hear it as well, and it's like hold it back, laugh, hold it back, laugh, hold it back, laugh. Space.
So, I feel bad for him. Do you know he recently had a stroke?
Yep, I did know that. It was kind of like a 25th or 30th anniversary of Rocky Horror Picture Show, or 40th, or something like that. I see there's Tim Kerr in the wheelchair. Oh, and I learned that he had suffered a stroke. It's like, oh, so that's why he hasn't been like acting that much recently. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But because for me, Rocky Horror was like, it's so weird because people think of history, they think of time as moving in this literal, not literal, but linear progression.
Mhm.
Things are getting more and more and more progressive, but it's not.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you think of like when Rocky Horror Picture Show came out, I mean, and how people would, I mean, the guy was literally a transvestite from space, a trans Martian, basically. You couldn't have that fucking movie now.
Not really, no.
I've seen all kinds of different trans themed episodes, things like All in the Family. There was an episode of WKRP in Cincinnati that played in the late 70s, early 80s. So I mean, when people talk about the future as it being like this progressive place, that's when I was talking about that program. There's so many different things where people could use that for their fucking evil agendas. I mean, say you because they were talking about gene therapy, and you're going to make these fucking armies of basically human clones where you could put the best fighting memories into these bodies. You know what I mean? I mean, there's ethical questions that, like, literally you could see the United States government being the fucking empire that it is, taking advantage of that in a way that's not healthy or good.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just like even in like Star Trek episodes, sometimes like I take it mentions something about clones, but never bring up the ethical issue. It's not important to the story, so unless they wanted to tie it into like what Kira has to learn the lesson that day, but yeah, I can definitely see just like, oh, army of clones, yeah, I saw that in Star Wars. That would be good.
What a good you know what kills me about Star Wars is you got these right-wing fucks that will sit there and say, "Oh, I think the Empire had it right. If it was me, I'd be a Sith." Okay, no shit, no shit. I'm not surprised. You're not telling me something I didn't know.
No, they would hate the rebels because, like, Lucas in the 70s kind of like thought the rebels were like kind of like the Viet Cong in the Vietnam. He had like a correlations there, as it were, the Viet Cong was a bit of an inspiration for the rebels, as it were. So there was at least that thing there with like Comrade George Lucas, at least back in the 70s.
Oh yeah, I'm kind of, you know how Steve is a nerd for Star Trek?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of how I am for Star Wars. Like literally I sat today and watched 2 fucking 40-minute videos on Star Wars and the theory behind and the canon, and I'm just, oh my god, I'm a nerd. I'm a Star Wars nerd. But anyways, so that's all I got for tonight. But do you what's going on with you, Jonathan?
No, nothing much. I'm going to continue streaming on like Twitch. Definitely each night I feel like it, and I get home from work at a reasonable time, so it'll be like 5 a.m. UTC because that'll be midnight Eastern, 9 p.m. Pacific. And when I'm going to be regularly streaming at that time, and if I do stream on weekday nights, on school nights, as it were. Probably going to stream later today. Not sure what I'm going to read. You reminded me how we talked about intersectionality, and I thought, oh, wait a minute, I haven't read that essay on my Twitch stream yet. And it's like, yeah, I do read political theory, as it were, but I also read like Bell Hooks' Understanding Patriarchy, because that was a good essay introduction to like why even men should understand patriarchy as well. And so I may be doing that. I probably will. And probably play a game afterwards after I do the reading. Otherwise, just be on Twitch. I'm probably going to like upload more videos onto like YouTube eventually. I just like there's tedious things I want to do before I like finally quick public on the videos they do so. But I will do that. And all my Twitch streams are going to be me trying to like raise funds for my friends Joanna Phoenix, and under my Twitch and all my YouTube videos are also like links to charity links page as well, which I'm should eventually get around to like curating there. But there are links to Palestine and a free Palestine card actually that can like give you a crash course into the history of Palestine, as well as provided links to further readings to Palestine and other sources about learning about Palestinian people, Palestinian culture, as well as like links to donate as well to Pacific Palestinian causes as well. And that's the charity links page, and that's also linked below on my Twitch and my Twitter. No, not on Twitter, but on YouTube videos. Yep, and it's all there, and that's what I'm up to.
So I think it's funny because, like whenever you're streaming, is literally when I see it, I'm getting ready for work. Because I sat there and was making comments every so often when you were doing your little farming. And I was just like, how can we turn this into an anarchist themed game?
Well, there are anarchist game developers out there.
Well, I just thought it was funny that because the whole thing is centered around basically capitalism.
It is, yeah.
But yeah, I the only reason I haven't been playing on my Xbox lately is because for some reason I can't get the get the software to work
Mm.
because I want to basically play and stream at the same time.
Mhm.
And I have this big green striped box in the middle of my screen. Jordan Joan Peace in the chat. Very late.
Hello, Jordan. Yes, very late.
We're just finishing up, actually. Go ahead and do like Nicole or oh god, what is her name on something nerd? Capricious Nerd, or I forget. But she always she's in Slovakia, I think.
Mhm.
And watches on the reruns, but always has the best freaking comments.
Mhm.
But Jonathan, I'm hoping that the next stream that we'll have David join us.
Mhm.
Maybe Jamie J or Leto, because it'll
Mhm.
be hopefully it'll be earlier.
Yep.
I had to do this on Sunday because I worked night shifts last night. So
Yep. And so the next third Saturday of June will be the 19th, which is because it's usually the third Saturday that's the patron show.
well, now that you said that, I'm gonna go. No, I'm not working. Oh, no. That is on a Saturday. Yeah, we can do it on the 19th.
All right, then.
So I'll see you then. I was gonna usually when I do these shows, I could say I'll see you tomorrow.
Hey, only you used to stream on Mondays as well, gaming as it were. So you could have said, "Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow" or something like that. But other times, we'll see you the next time you do the tea party, which will be Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern, which will be 8 p.m. No, 9 p.m. UTC.
That's correct. That's correct. I go out. And then somebody pulled out this BST on me bullshit, which is British summertime.
Okay, so if Britain also has stupid daylight savings times, then yes, okay, because otherwise that's like Greenwich Mean Time. That means the same thing as UTC.
Yeah. I like it because it's basically zero. So it centers me and everything, and it's all about me.
Just like capitalism.
I do have a sound for that.
A fantastic day for capitalism.
Oh, anyways, Jonathan, thank you for coming on. Thank you for being a supporter of the show.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's funny because I think we kind of rotate our cash to each other. We are being anarchists and communists. We're basically supporting each other's streaming.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm okay with that.
Yep. Just spreading the money around. Why not?
Why not? And having fun and laughing.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly at idiots, but anyways.
You have to get your fun somehow.
Well, yeah. Well, I don't know. I part of me, I don't like making fun of people, but part of me can't help it because, especially in America, people take so much pride in their ignorance.
Yes.
That is literally the MO of like Trumpers.
I mean, it's just like I saw this on Facebook. Someone was just drinking their tea with the text over the tea. I'm still wearing my mask because last week people were putting gasoline in plastic bags. People did not learn from 2020. You don't need to do a rush on toilet paper. They'll be fine. Just get like one extra package of toilet paper. That's all you need. Same with this gas shortage. Doing a run on the gas and hoarding the gas will intensify the shortage.
Okay, so on TikTok, there's a thing. Basically, people will say, and it's a format. Basically, people will say, "Tell me you're a liberal without telling me you're a liberal." So in this case, with the gasoline in the Tupperware, it's tell me you're making a bomb without telling me you're making a bomb, not on purpose.
I have gasoline in plastic bags.
Plastic bags and fucking Tupperware in the trunk of my car. That's not gonna especially in some place like Arizona, that's not gonna end badly at all.
No.
Darwin Award winners. Anyways, Jonathan, thank you for coming on. Thank you for being a supporter. Thank you for doing everything you do, especially mutual aid charity links page. Help comrades out.
Bye, everyone.
Take care. See you later.
And there's the leave button. Okay.
I think we're alone now. Sorry. I'm actually getting the ending screen here. There we go. Bring the music up. Anyways, I'll see you guys maybe on Monday, but definitely on Wednesday. Take care, everybody.